All right, I'll call to order the Northborough School Committee open meeting of Wednesday, February 4th. It is 6:32 p.m. We have 4 members in person and 1 member remote. So all votes will be roll call. And we will move right into audience sharing. No audience sharing? Okay. All right, on to new business, or do you then want to do, or are we skipping that verb? All right. Principals reports, Michelle Carb.
Coming.
Well, there seems to be a lot going on at all of our schools. So at Lincoln Street, here are 3 of the highlights. 4th grade students performing music on the left, and then in the middle, Mrs. Norsworthy volunteering to be a reader at Cookies and Cocoa. And then on the right, in honor of MLK Jr., 1st grade designed and created posters. And at Peasley on the left, 4th and 5th grade ST Math peer tutors supporting younger students before school at ST Math Camp. And then in the middle, NS Borough Reads, fun-filled family celebration, which took place yesterday. And then on the right, 4th graders reading Fractured Fairy Tales to kindergartners. And then at Proctor, on the left, 5th grade band and chorus students performing in the winter concert. They performed both in the evening for families and then during the day for students. And then in the middle, 5th grade Spirit Squad members chose books related to the Penguin Way and read aloud to all classes on National Penguin Awareness Day. And then on the right, Mrs. Schweyer's 1st
Oh, that's my
graders
kid.
reading.
Isn't that fun?
That is fun.
Pink, right?
Yeah, I'll recognize that ponytail anywhere.
Reading their written books during an author sharing circle, supporting early literacy, oral language, and student engagement.
Tell Miss Mahoney, nice job.
And then at Z, during Z Family, students participated in stations including yoga, problem solving, and community building. And in the middle, 5th grade band and chorus students performed during their winter concert. Then on the right, 3rd graders used trash to create models during library tech enrichment. And then at Milliken, on the top left, under the Strategic Initiative Empowering Learners, WPI professor and Milliken parent, Dr. Manning, visited us on Friday, and she led our 6th graders through Strawberry DNA Extraction Lab. Upper right, under the Healthy and Balanced Learners District Initiative, that's a photo of our 7th and 8th grade jazz band when they performed at our 28th annual jazz night. Bottom left is some student artwork displayed. This is the 8th grade project, which is Draw Me a Song, and they illustrate lyrics from a song of their choice. And then the bottom right is Educator Learning and Leadership, that district initiative, and this is just a photo of our team leaders leading our January faculty meeting in our Trusted Adults initiative, and this included some data analysis. And then I did just want to take a minute to share and just to acknowledge the passing of our Milliken teacher, Stephen Knight, who passed away a week ago today. Dr. Knight was a member of our Milliken family for 16 years, teaching ELA and literacy. He started and led our skateboard club and our garden collective. Both of those popular clubs ran during the fall and the spring, and it was not uncommon to see Dr. Knight being challenged by students to complete a trick on his skateboard or to see him working with students in the raised beds behind the school. More recently, Dr. Knight also led the Milliken Insider, which was our school newspaper, and we are thankful to Stephen for his dedication to our students.
Questions? Comments? Thank you very much. Thank you. Wonderful presentation. Are you staying for the next?
Sure.
Okay. Are you ready?
Oh,
We've got the Melican Middle School PTO presentation, folks. One of our own. Very exciting.
here too.
She's got to move along with.
Oh, look how kind the school committee is. They even gave me a name tag. Oh, do all PTOs get that? So
Can I say one thing before you start?
Yes, of course.
It is always wonderful to partner with our PTO, and this year's PTO is especially active and extremely supportive of initiatives, bringing in new ideas, supporting ideas that we have at the school, and just really partnering with us. So we're very thankful to the PTO, and especially our chair, Kelly.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Gannett, and I am the president of the Melican PTO this year. I have been part of PTOs since my daughters were in kindergarten, and she's in 8th grade now. Yet this is the first presentation I've actually had to make, because the other years that I was chair was either like during COVID, or the school committee just opted not to hear. No, I'm just kidding. I was able to get like my co-chairs or the vice chairs or other people present. So this was like my first time, and of course I've starting to get laryngitis, so I apologize for that. But let's see, I'm at the link. Okay, so my other board people is my vice president, Michelle Mayeroffer. She said that I sent her the link, but if she doesn't know if she can get into the meeting or not. I sent her our meeting link. Does that work or no? Okay.
For the Zoom?
Yeah, I sent her oh no, maybe it was the YouTube live thing.
Yeah,
That was the
so,
thing, so
yeah.
she wouldn't be able to do that, okay.
No.
Okay, anyways, so, Michelle has a 6th grader, and, I, heard about Michelle from, Rebecca Mahabalis, and Michelle has been a great addition to the school. She has a 6th grader, and she just she's probably like 3 weeks now? No, 2 weeks old? She just had a new baby. So she couldn't be here tonight because of that. Our treasurer is Christina D'Arienzo. She has a 7th grader. And you might know the name because she was the treasurer and very involved with the Z PTOs for many, many years. And then our secretary is Hanya Sustache. I messaged her, I was like, give me the phonetic spelling, I don't want to butcher your name. So Hanya has an 8th grader. She's been on the PTO for, I want to say, sort of like 3rd or 4th year, because she had her daughter's a sophomore, I think her older daughter is a sophomore, and then she had things. So she's been around for a while too. So I will be stepping down next year, and Michelle will be stepping up, but I'm not going to be going anywhere because I still will be there for another year. So you can't get rid of me yet.
It's a good thing.
All right, so I'm going to start off with our budget. So every year we set a budget and we approve it around November time. And this year's budget, I believe it adds up to about $30,000. This was a graphic that we used for one of our fundraisers. I liked it because it shows you where exactly the money is going, but it also shows you like the big percentage of it, the colors and stuff like that. So teacher grants we lumped in the teacher grants and the other $11,000, because we don't do 11,000 for teacher grants, but it was other things that we did for the school. So for example, we got them a printer, and so that we put into that because it was a teacher grant and like that. 6th grade activities, enrichment, 8th grade activities, clubs, scholarships, athletics. Let's see, where else? The next things for fundraising. So how do we get the money for our budgets? We fundraise. Spirit Wear, we did a drive in the fall We have one of our parents, Lauren Ferdier and Rebecca Mahapolis. They are our merchandise gurus, and they're helping us out with that. Lauren will make the t-shirts, so she made some, and we did a pop-up in the fall, and we did really well with that fundraiser. And then we outsourced and had it professionally done, and we didn't get as many sales, but I don't know if it's because they were able to cash and carry. So what we're gonna try to do is the next few events, we're gonna try to get some cash and carry items so people will be able to take them with them, and we think that that will help with sales. When people have to wait for things, nobody wants to do that, so. We've done a few fun nights. We did in the fall, we did a fun night for the sixth graders, which is basically the gym is open up for basketball and some other sporting activities, and then the cafeteria is like a dance club. And so we did that for the sixth grade and the seventh grade, and then the eighth grade, their fun night was not a fundraiser, it was just a fun evening, and we did that at Roller Kingdom for them this year. So they had a lot of fun with that. Our Roadrunner Obstacle, that's our big ultimate challenge, is the big fundraiser for the year. We raised about $14,000 with it, between sponsors and the challenge. Bay State textile bins, they're out at all the schools. Melican has 2, so I love when we get our monthly report, and Melican has like such like high numbers, but we fill those. I mean, we could probably get a third. I feel like we would fill that up pretty good. So we get some business sponsors. The bar at the bottom, those were our sponsors for the Roadrunner, the challenge, and they were gold level sponsors. So on every email that goes out there from the PTO, they're Wegmans, Karen Skopetsky, and Methnasium, they're on all of our emails. So it's to advertise them and to thank them for their generous donations. And that was, I believe it was a $2,000 level, I think it was $1,000. School pictures, we get a little kickback from that, and then community donations. We had an anonymous person reach out to us, and they wanted to help us with scholarships for the students. So they gave us a check for $750 to cover all of our scholarship field trips and activities for the year, because that's what our line item budget was. So it's very generous donation. And I asked if they would like to be thanked, and they said, nope, we know we did it, and we just wanted to do that for you guys. And they're in the neighborhood, and they wanted to give back. So we are very appreciative of that donation and all donations that come into us. So the grants this year, we budgeted $5,000. So far, we've only spent $1,800. With the new boards that they got in the classrooms that we did not ours, I'm sorry, different hat. The school committee had a warrant article last year for it, and it was for the smart boards in the classrooms and stuff. So with a lot of that stuff, the teachers have more moving around the classrooms. They wanted keyboards, so we got them keyboards. We did it for a few classes, and then other departments wanted it too. So we've given out 13 keyboards with mice that the teachers are able to use in conjunction with the warrant article, which is great. The other things is clipboards. The kids are moving around the classroom more. The teachers have stations, and so they wanted the kids to be able to write and take notes. So it seems like kind of like a trivial thing, but they add up. So it's not an expense that we would, be able to provide on our school budgets. And the teachers, it's unfair for them to put out their pockets, so they write us a grant for it, and we've been able to award them that. So 6th and 7th grade, and 7th and 8th grade, they all have clipboards. Shrinky Dinks, it was a geometries had a couple things. ELD they wanted some English language games, and then walk-in classrooms. Our enrichment program, we $5,000 we budget for them. We've only spent $2,800, and clubs $1,500 budget and only $600. So we still have money left on the table for these things, and we really would love for teachers and get engaged. One thing that we talked about at one of our previous PTO meetings is that another school they will have like an enrichment binder. So it's kind of like ideas for the teachers. So if they want to do something, but they don't really know what they want to do, they can consult with this binder. So we were talking about coming up with something similar to that. So then, because sometimes maybe they just don't know what they want to do. But enrichment, we love to get programs to come into the school because buses are so expensive nowadays. And that takes up a huge cost for the families and for the district, so, and for us. So we love to be able to come to the school. So we've got the Chariot of the Sun who comes in and World Dancers who come in. Those are two big things that have come in for I don't even know how many years, but the PTO will do that. We also will collaborate sometimes with the, Suzie Soslicka is our grant guru, and she will reach out to different communities, things. We've gotten gym equipment from people, we've gotten things, and so she reaches out to the community cultural affairs, and so she will write a grant for them. So if we can't pay for it, then we have other areas to help contribute to the cost. These are just some of the events that we've had this year, and some have already happened and some are gonna come. We do welcome back teacher breakfast. What did we have this year for breakfast? I can't remember what we did for breakfast. We did a winter holiday staff luncheon, and it was Gather Provisions who did it, and that went over really well. The staff loved that, and they were great to work with. Highly recommend them. Everything was delicious, so thank you, Gather Provisions. Melican Market is a new things, which I believe that we've talked about it, I've heard about it before, but Gretchen has started the Melican Market instead of the Roadrunner raffle that they used to do. And so we will provide the market with extra money to get it up and running and funding. We actually haven't given too much money yet this year for it, but we've got an extra line item for that to help. Fun February Friday, I was just saying, I just made up that name. We were talking about it after we did the Ultimate Challenge obstacle in the fall, and it was really great, and it was fun. The kids love getting out of classes, they love having fun. We talked about doing something in the winter time, so the Friday before February vacation is gonna be a very full day at Melican. Not only is one of the school committee members coming to participate in the basketball, 8th grade basketball game, but the kids will have other activities going on throughout the day in the morning. So each grade is gonna do it a little differently. The 7th grade is gonna do their middle of the middle. It's their halfway point between middle school and from 5th grade to the high school. 8th grade is gonna do through the food cafeteria, Coco's and cookie type thing, but it's all approved with the cafeteria. And the 6th grade is still deciding what they want to do. And then Staff Appreciation Week, we decided this year, instead of doing like a lot of little things, we thought that maybe some sort of t-shirts or some swag. So we are going to be giving all the teachers merchandise, along with a lunch also. And that's about it. The 8th grade field days. So that's about it. What we're doing in Milligan. So very busy.
Very
Any
cool.
questions?
Do you have questions?
No, I think I'm good.
I think it's just always great to hear what PTOs are doing. And sometimes I think we sort of concentrate on the elementary schools, right, like the little kids.
Yeah.
But kids are still little in the middle school as well, and I know that they appreciate just the community you're bringing to
Yeah.
Melican, just with all these really cool events. So,
Yeah, I was
thank
just
you.
thinking you guys really built that up, didn't it, like 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, there
it
wasn't really much. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
tough. It's like, as you said, it's like that middle, it's kind of like that middle. It's like some people are burnt out from 5th grade, you know, and overwhelmed, don't know what to do. But we're trying to get more involved and give back to the kids and support the staff more. 2 of the fundraisers that we, not only PTO is fundraising as a whole, but individual grades are starting to fundraise too for things. So the sixth grade is actively fundraising for their sixth grade overnight field trip. They've got a football Super Bowl square thing going on right now. And then the eighth grade is fundraising for their dance and their other activities that they do. And so they have a calendar, a March calendar, so they're having March Madness. So a $5 raffle ticket will get you a chance of winning money every day in March. So they're doing those types of fundraisers too, so. And I have to say that our sixth grade parents were very involved, amazing. Our first meeting, we had to move to a different room because we had so many people show up for the meeting. I want to say it was like 12 people who showed up.
Almost
for the
more
meeting.
than that.
12 to 20, I feel like 20 with all of us staff, like,
People were standing
People-
up around the edge of
they had
the
to stand
stands.
up, they had to pull in
Great.
chairs, so
Yeah.
that was really good.
Awesome.
Joni, did you have something?
Yes, thank you, Bruce. I'd just like to thank you, Kelly, as the PTO chair, and all the other members that serve on your committee, along with the coordination and cooperation with Principal Carr. It's wonderful things that you always do, and I know there are numerous of volunteer hours that you guys spend and all the other members to get these things done. What you do for the educational community is wonderful, and to see that, you know, the participation of the parents has increased at the middle level is really wonderful. I hope that continues at the high school level. And I would just like to say it's good to hear that you have money left over, that as you go into the second part of the school year, if teachers come up with other enrichment programs or things that they knew in their classroom. So thank you for everything that you do, which, as you know, Kelly and Michelle Carr, that helps us in our budget season. So it's wonderful financially, and your volunteer hours is wonderful. Thank you for all you do to enrich the middle school children's lives. Thank you.
Yeah, and Michelle's great to work with, very responsive. Gretchen's amazing, and I have to give a shout out to Nicole and Mariana in the main office. They are lifesavers, you know, and amazing, very helpful, and everyone's very welcoming when when they hear my buzz coming into the building.
Sometimes I feel like you work there. It's
I
really,
know.
it's actually really
Well,
great.
it was
It's been
funny.
really great.
I was saying that I can't work there because of payroll, but I said, if you guys need me to answer phones one day, because they were all like sick and stuff, I was like, I can volunteer, my parent volunteer hat. Like, I'm glad to help out. So,
It's been great. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Okay, up next we have multilingual learners. How you doing?
So do you want me to present?
Yes, please.
Oh, thank you.
Good evening, and it's really a pleasure to be back here tonight. I'm Salvi Loyola, Director of Multilingual Learners, and tonight I'll share how our multilingual department ensures access, belonging, academic success, while we're fully meeting our DESE requirements. So tonight we'll talk about who our multilingual learners are, what is new in terms of the DESE regulations and programs, how we serve our students and families, what our accountability looks like, and our next steps and highlights in our program. So as a quick reminder, we use these two terms, English learner and multilingual learner, interchangeably in our district. We follow basically DESE's dual nomenclature, and each term has a purpose. English learner is our legal and compliance term for reporting and data. However, we do embrace multilingual learner as an asset-based term. And our multilingual learners not only just include students in our ESL instructional program, but it refers to any student who has a different language at home. And they come into us with their assets, and they're not just learning English, but they're actually continuing to develop their complex, high-level skills in multiple languages. Again, you've seen these before, but just as a reminder, who are our multilingual learners? The profiles may look like we have newcomers, our long-term Ls, students who are duly identified, who have disabilities, students who may have interrupted schooling, and our former English learners who have met the criteria to exit out of the ESL instruction per DESI's standards. And each of these profiles require a targeted, responsive, and oftentimes a collaborative support. Our historic data keeps growing. What you may notice is that since the pandemic, our English learners have been growing in population and diversity. We are currently serving 129 English learners and 69 former English learners. And this upward trend underscores the need for the language access systems and our specialized instruction that we have in place. So if we were to take our English learners from there and look at their proficiency levels, and these proficiency levels are defined by VITA standards and adopted by DESI. So entering meaning they are coming with very little to no English language, all the way through bridging, which means they are comparable to a native English speaker. You can see that for the 7% of our students are in the developing phase, which is the longest language acquisition phase in this journey. And per DESI requirements, this really helps us determine our instructional intensity, our staffing, and supports. So you can see that foundational or entering and emerging students require about 7.5 hours of ESL per week, while those in the transitional, developing, expanding, and bridging levels require 3.75 hours. This is always a fun graphic to look at. There are about 25 languages represented here. And you can see that Portuguese and Spanish are largest groups, followed by Arabic and Chinese. I'd just like to take a moment to look at it and read through the names of the languages and how much I even don't know about what their home languages may sound, look, and be like in use. But what's important here is this data is only from our English learners and former English learners. So we have other students who may have been beyond their 12 years, or students who do have a different language at home but have never been identified. So we're actually much more diverse and richer than what our data shows here. So what is new? For the past 2 years, DESI has been bringing different tools, regulations, and updating our even accountability, our testing. So we'll walk through some of those that I'd like to highlight for you. So first of all, DESI has now a new language survey. As you may know, language survey is part of our registration process, and each family who is registering a student is required to complete this language survey. It is the first step in our work as the multilingual department to see if we have to further take the next step to identify and screen the students and see if they qualify for ESL services. What is different is that the language survey used to be called home language survey, and DESI is now really emphasizing that it's no longer used. We're not going to use HLS, home language survey, rather it will be language survey, and this will allow parents to engage with our intention of us trying to work with them to best support and getting to know families. So it is much more clear than what it was previously. It has 3 sections. The first section basically refers to the use of communication, use of a language as communication at home. The second section determines if the family has language access needs in our sport, and the third section gives information about the student's prior education. We have already adopted this and incorporated it into our Power School enrollment system, and I'd like to extend my gratitude to Kathy Carmignani, John Parent, Judy Davis, and Julie Marshall for doing this work quickly and accurately, and we have it up and running with Keith's sport for the new kindergarten registration. So and this also came with the requirement of training staff who would be enrolling, so we have done that work too. It was a great collaborative effort, and we have a check for that. VITA also, right now we're in the access testing season, as I call it. It goes from January 5th through February 27th. And VITA has really redesigned the access test. Similar to the language survey, they removed the wording VITA access for ELLs, and now it's referred to as VITA access. The kindergarten access is fully redesigned, and the access testing finally got aligned with the frameworks that DESI adopted. The 2020 VITA ESL frameworks are now incorporated into the new access testing. So everybody in Massachusetts is now taking this new version of the access test, and it's a learning year for us, so we'll see how our data will look like next year. Along with that came language charts. Basically, the language charts walk us through those 5 proficiency levels that we have reviewed before, and is intended to serve as a resource for all educators, even those without specialized language backgrounds. These charts expand from kindergarten through 12, and they're in a continuum and clustered by grade levels that match the VITA access testing. Basically, they give us information on the language proficiency, use, interpretive and expressive use of the language in discourse, sentence, and or word phrase level. So it tells us what our students are able to produce and interpret at a specific proficiency level and the grade level. So that's the new. Our team really has a lot of learning to do this year, and we are doing the work. And it's exciting because everything is now finally aligned, and it is much more collaborative lens, where our teachers can have a classroom conversations with classroom teachers and content area teachers using these new tools. And finally, the DESI just revised their guidance in January, just a couple of weeks ago, basically to align the procedures to the new language survey, where the identification process is strengthened. They have emphasized the ESL instruction and ELD, English language development, to occur across the school day. And they have also brought a little bit of a stricter translation standards, especially because of the use of the AI. They have emphasized that a human eye needs to be looking at the AI translations, especially for essential communications, in order to ensure that we are actually communicating correctly to all the families. So working with our multilingual learners, we have already spoken about the beginning of our process. The language survey flags us to see if our department needs to do further work. And this year, the language survey comes with a rubric. So it's the first year that our department will be applying this DESI's rubric to move forward in the process. So this rubric brings consistency not only within our district, but within all the school districts in Massachusetts. And it is intended to reduce any misidentification that may happen. After that, per the rubric's next steps, if needed, we move with the DESE either preschool screener or VITA screener for kindergarten through 12th grade. We always partner and follow up with families. Each time we are having a family conversation, we do learn new information about our students that enables us to better support them throughout their journey here. And then at the end of this process, the parents receive placement letters if their child identifies. So I just want to highlight that we have processed about 82 students in our district between July and end of December. And 46 of these students have qualified as an English learner. 7 of them came to us as a former English learner, and 39 of them did not qualify. The model of ESL instruction in our district is sheltered English immersion. This means that ESL licensed teachers provide direct language instruction, while SEI endorsed classroom or content teachers use specialized strategies to make grade level content, math, science, and social studies accessible to our language learners. Again, we use the VITA 2020 standards to ensure that language development happens alongside academic rigor with high expectations from our students. As part of our accountability, we do provide English language development progress reports and report cards. So the progress reports are for elementary schools and report cards are for middle and higher grade levels. We have our annual access testing. And per the access test, we determine if the student meets the criteria to be exited. And sometimes DESE tells us that the student needs to be on a student success plan because they have not met a benchmark. In that case, our teachers work together to develop goals with that student. And then, of course, we have our MCAS data that Stephanie definitely talks to that effect. And I just want to show in that picture one of those SEI strategies being used in a lesson. So our ESL teacher took a grade 4 Wit and Wisdom unit, and they have used the color coding strategy where you can see the theme, mood, and the setting. I just wanted to highlight some work that is happening in our district. In terms of our accountability, we do receive district overall data, school roster reports, and individual student reports. Last year, you can see that 59% of our students made progress, and we had about nearly 46% of our students in the entering and emerging levels, foundational levels. So we had students last year, nearly half of them were in the beginning of their journey with us. So what happens after access testing is that we do receive these reports and then share them with the families. We look to see if our students meet the criteria to be former English learners, if they're reclassified. If so, then we do inform the families with a letter. If they are FELs, we begin the monitoring process of 4 years. This is also something new. The new requirement from DESE is that we do partner more stronger with the parents during their FEL years too. And DESE provides a list of FELs now, which they have not provided before. So they tell us which students have actually met the criteria and which students are we required to follow. And then, of course, as they get into older grades, they have an opportunity for earning the seal of biliteracy. Some of the highlights of our work, our LPAC meetings are going on. Our last meeting will be in March. And we will be working with Mr. Martineau on our next strategic plan. In terms of professional development, we are continuing to align our new curricular materials to the frameworks and to the new guidance as it comes out. We have partnered with the PRISM grant and Megan Kelty, and all of our ELD teachers have received training on implementing UFly, which is, I'm sure Megan Kelty or Stephanie can tell you more about it, but University of Florida's literacy instruction, phonics instructional system. And a couple of our ELD teachers have been running with it, and their data has been amazing, so that work actually is very rewarding to see. We have implemented SEI strategies, just like that chart I highlighted, color coding, what can I do in my classroom to better support our multilingual learners. We are, each ELD teacher in the building is taking the initiative to put together a refresher of strategies that may be best fitting for that building and community of teachers. We are collaborating closely with Kathy Lizard and going into the classrooms just to learn how our new math curriculum is looking like, what is the linguistic load, and what is already existing in the curriculum to make the language accessible. And so we're learning a lot, we're collaborating and seeing what else may be needed and determining next steps. We do have our Title III this year, so our summer program will happen this summer. We're excited about that. The registration process will be rolled out next week. It's going to be at Proctor School again with a theme to be determined. We're working on our student success plans alongside of the access testing that's going on to ensure that they are able to meet their goals and make the progress that DESE determines for their benchmarks. We're working on an interpreter grant which will enable us to increase our capacity to follow DESE's tiered approach to the use of our interpreters. So if we are just having a simple conversation, maybe the student missed the bus, that requires a different level of proficiency and knowledge than an interpreter who's participating in an IEP meeting. So there are 3 tiers, and our work will grow our capacity to provide highly trained interpreters to meet all of our families' needs in a better way. And I'd like to actually extend my gratitude to Rosa, our new administrative assistant, who has been working really hard, and she's doing an amazing job providing language access for report cards, parent-teacher meetings, IEP meetings. So we're very happy to have her. She's doing a wonderful job. And of course, our international night is also planned this year. We are working on it, and it is tentatively scheduled to be on May 1st, 2026. But before we part for the night, I just wanted to share this heartwarming note that one of our ELD teachers from Milliken received. Once I knew that Michelle was presenting tonight, I wanted to share a nice note that one of our new families sent. So I did have the permission of the teacher, so I hope it's okay. So my child frequently speaks of you with immense warmth and admiration, consistently referring to you as her absolute favorite teacher. Her glowing reports underscore the incredible support, kindness, and understanding you have consistently extended to her. As you can well imagine, navigating a new school environment coupled with a completely different curriculum can be quite a daunting experience for any child. Your dedication, along with that of the entire teaching staff, has been absolutely instrumental in making this significant transition remarkably smoother for her. educators like yourself who genuinely go above and beyond to foster a sense of belonging and comfort truly make an immeasurable difference in shaping a child's foundational educational experiences. And Kelly, as you mentioned, since the minute you walk into Milliken, you do feel that warmth from Nicole, Mariana, Principal Carm, and everybody. So it does take a village to ensure that our students are successful. And we're very fortunate and grateful to be in your company.
Thank you very much. I'll wait for Joan to ping, but anybody? There she is. There she is. Joan, go ahead.
She's
Yeah,
smiling.
thank you. I heard my name. I was waiting for everybody else, but
Hi, Joan.
Sylvia, I'd like to thank you for all your dedication that you've done. I did attend one of the LPAC meetings, I believe it was in September or October, and the interaction with the parents and the students and just the welcoming of all the parents was absolutely wonderful. And then you were doing a survey to see how you could reach out to the parents that were there, what were their needs. And I just wanted to know if you could highlight on the following meeting that followed, I think it was in December, when Allie Lane from the Recreation Department in Northborough came, because one of the needs of the parents were that they wanted to know about after-school activities for the kids and some enrichment things. Can you just give us an update what the collaboration between you and Allie Lane from the town of Northborough was?
Sure, and John, thank you for joining us that evening and for making the connection with Allie for that to happen. She did come in, and she came in with a slew of resources that are offered for all grade levels of students and families. We just sat around the circle, as you have also experienced, and after Allie gave us all the different opportunities and enrichment that Northborough provides, she then took questions from the parents. A lot of the parents were surprised by the breadth and depth and the thinking behind of all these services. Allie also expressed that these services were both for Northborough and Southborough, and our families left with translated materials and knowledge of where to go and how to sign up. And they were delighted to hear the multitudes of opportunities that our recreation department offered. So it was a good night, and that took place in December.
Yeah, and I was so excited when I talked to Allie, because I didn't realize that some of these after-school programs, when I looked at the price of them, some of them were $250 and $150. And then when I was talking with her, she mentioned that they have financial grants that they can give them. Well, not pay the whole thing, because they want the parents to buy into it also, and want the kids to. So do you know if some of the parents took advantage of those financial grants?
I think they were happy to hear that existed if needed, but I did not hear anything further about any of our families reaching out to Allie. I do have to circle back with her, because I would love to have her continue to come in to our meetings and events and to continue to inform of these opportunities. That was a fantastic opportunity. Allie also mentioned other resources in town. And it just goes to the collaborative effort of raising an education and educating our students here, definitely.
And thank you for the welcomeness of yourself and the openness to make possible that collaboration and to make those services available to those parents. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure, and I'm always humbled by everybody's dedication. Thank you, John.
So before I get to my point, I think that that's just amazing that, the recreation department was able to partner with you and your department. Was that through LPAC, or was that through?
Actually, Joan facilitated that
That's
to
great.
happen. So during LPAC, we were just surveying ideas of what our families would like to learn further about, and recreational opportunities was one of them, and Joan made that connection, and then Allie was there in the next meeting.
That's great.
It just happened really, really beautifully.
That's wonderful. And I think because our district has been focusing on sort of that sense of belonging for many years, that right there is trying to foster a sense of belonging and welcome families into our Northborough community who maybe don't know everything that we
Absolutely.
have to offer.
Absolutely.
So that's great. So thanks, Joan. I was curious about the comment you made about AI.
Mhm.
Can you give a little bit of clarity? We are going to talk about AI a little bit later in our meeting.
Mhm.
So I'm just trying to think about how that would play out in a classroom situation where a teacher might have to use AI to translate something
Mhm.
sort of on the fly. So what were some of the stipulations about using AI versus having, someone actually read through materials?
So AI is growing and it's a wonderful resource to have, especially when it comes to communicating. However, the context of the message is very important. What comes to mind immediately is the word sink, right? It has so many different meanings that the sink you wash your hands in, or something sinking, or did something sink? Did you understand that, right? So, but AI doesn't always have that cultural pragmatics to separate multiple meanings, so we could be communicating something that was not intended. And so for that reason, somebody who has the cultural and pragmatic know-how should have their eyes on it to make sure that our messages are as intended. So maybe a quick communication is fine, but as the stakes of that communication and the impact on students' learning gets higher, it's best to have a human eye who knows that language and culture takes a look at it. And I like to highlight that Kathy Carmignani and myself and Judy Davis, we've been working very closely to have Howard School translate our report cards for middle school this year. And the way we are doing it is we're making sure that all the report card words and the classes that are offered are actually translated by our own interpreters and then put into the Power School, just to make sure that we are covering and communicating the message that needs. So it's a high stakes report card, right? So that's one example. And I think it, it would need to be evaluated case by case.
Right. And in a case where someone's using Google Translate,
Mm-hmm.
that's more a tool, I would think, than to communicate, less than say, hey, generative AI, create this, passage about, I don't know, photosynthesis or whatever it might be. So there could be some distinction between just like, hey, I want to communicate to the students that something versus here's curriculum materials.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Mhm. And we can always double check, use multiple tools to see if you're getting a similar outcome.
Right,
Mhm.
right. Thank you.
Having been to some of the LPAC meetings, they're amazing. The community that you're building there just seems to be really taking care of itself in a way that is just very meaningful. And yeah, I can only imagine the challenges that we all have in our day-to-days. Having to do it in different languages is incredibly challenging.
Thank you.
So like, it's just an incredible, having like a minimal experience with that in the work that I do, the need to switch and create comprehension or to be able to describe an activity is hard. And so kudos to the team for moving folks through that process. My question is on the duration of the process. You mentioned the longest phase is, I'm sorry, and I'm gonna butcher the name of the longest phase, which is developing, okay, which gets to then bridging eventually. Are you finding that given the supports, people are moving through the first two phases at a faster rate and then into that developing, or is there still, are there still improvements to be made at the entering phase or at the one that's next to that?
There is a wonderful wraparound for we call our entering emerging students, newcomers, around our newcomers in every building in our school, so we're very lucky in that sense. We care for our students deeply and that they're our North Star. So if there are additional supports needed in the the foundational levels. Our ELD teachers, principals, specialists, they collaborate very closely to ensure that that student is receiving the support and or the scaffolding that they need. So I do feel, and again, it's so hard to generalize because each student
Yeah,
at that
sure.
level comes with a different literacy and knowledge in their own background. So the stronger they come to us with their own literacy skills, in general, it's easier to transition from that into a different language and environment. But if
If foundational literacy is not there, or, yeah, then it gets more and more challenging.
right, but entering and emerging is in general maybe faster because it builds social language first
Okay,
in order for them to acquiesce to the school routines and then moves into the academic language. The reason why developing is a wider window is because you are now focusing on building your academic language and discourse in that language.
okay. Thank you.
Thank
you very much.
Could I just,
Thank you so
could I
much.
just take one moment and acknowledge Selvi for her leadership? I think that this is her 18th month in her position as the Director of Multilingual Learners. And part of the work that we do is that when we have a leader who is retiring or moving on to a different role, who has done a wonderful job, that was Rhoda Webb, as you all know, and have a leader transition in and continue the work and move the work forward is great to observe and see, and Selvi's done that with great skill, a positive attitude, and a great partnership with educators, students, families, and central office. So thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank
It's a
Thank you very
pleasure
much,
every
Sylvia.
day. Thank you.
Okay. Legislative update?
So I did provide a brief update in the packet around Governor Healy's FY27 state budget recommendation. There were really no surprises in terms of some of the numbers that were presented. We looked at our foundation enrollment, stayed pretty consistent. Our state aid remained consistent in Northborough. And I think we're pleased to see that universal free meals is funded next year in her budget. It increases funding for that program a little under $200 million. So Becky and the finance team continue to monitor the state budget landscape, and will provide updates as the budget moves through the process.
Questions? None of that requires us to revisit any updates to the budget
No.
as of now?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, discussion and creation of a resolution for MASC-MASS conference?
So Cheryl Lepre did do some research around what it takes to create a resolution, so I did include that information in your packet. So I think that we understand the process. The nice thing is that, you have a partner districts. We have Southborough in the region, so that's 2. Stephanie and I are working with potentially a few other districts who might be interested in joining us. And now it's determining what the resolution will say and focus on. So I think the last time we talked was calendar. And on behalf of the committee, I would be happy to draft something for the committee's discussion and review and editing for the next meeting, if that's the will of the committee.
Yeah, I would love that. That'd be great. If you want to do any work offline, I'm happy to help.
Perfect.
And the calendar being having the
So the,
state
it would, having the state have a
declare
group
the,
to research what's the best calendar for learning. Like what's the,
Yeah,
because lots of
right.
states have lots of different calendars and like what is actually, what is the data and the studies done about
Yeah.
the best calendar for academic progress.
Cool. Okay. Update on school visits?
So we just had a chance to visit Peasley Elementary School and the Z Elementary School. I just want to thank Bud Richardson for his time, and also Mary Coakley, Dr. Coakley, for her time as well, and Principal John Bell for his time answering questions and sharing their buildings with us.
Any thoughts anybody wants to share here on the subject, or?
Just a big thank you.
Yeah.
But I'd never got a tour of either of those buildings, and having Bud and Keith and the principals there to answer questions was great.
And
Yeah.
Kelly and I went to the Peasley Building Committee meeting, was that last week maybe? Or the weekend?
Yeah, the
Might have been
27th.
Yesterday, but it feels like.
Yeah.
a week ago, I don't know.
So, we're sort of in the phase where we're starting to look at, what do we want our spaces to look like in a new either building, whether it's a new build, a renovation, an addition, whatever. And so what do we need? And so they did a complete sort of audit of what does Peasley currently have and offer, what spaces are sort of in alignment with the, not MASC,
MSBA.
thank you, MSBA, so many acronyms, the MSBA, I guess, guidelines for what a new school should have in terms of spaces, including spaces for services, for specialized, like specialized arts and music. So in some areas, Peasley currently is doing pretty well.
Yep.
But there are other areas where it's like, ooh, wow, like we don't have any space
Yeah.
for this. So then actually now walking back into Peasley, and we've
We've
been
there.
in Peasley quite a
Yeah.
bit, but now walking back in with that information in the back of my head, I'm like, oh yeah, we do really need a bigger space for
Yeah.
a library or for, let's think about our gym and cafetorium situation, right? So it just was interesting to see, given that audit that was done.
Yeah. The other thing that is nice about seeing it is that Peasley, as it stands now, is what Lincoln looked like prior to their renovation. I can't even believe, what is it, almost 10 years ago now? Right?
So.
It's
It was,
like crazy.
what, 2017?
Yeah,
16.
it's coming on up 10
Yeah.
years, so it's just crazy. So it's nice to see, one, the scale difference, what it could be like, but it's also nice to see areas that maybe didn't work out as much as we thought, like things that, they really like having it this way now, and knowing that if they did a renovation like this, Lincoln, they would lose maybe some of the things that they really do like, that works for them, so.
And just thinking about, bringing the pre-K program, back into Northborough, and it will be at Z, but, moving into a potential new school and moving pre-K there, it will look different than Lincoln would. So
Right.
that's just something to consider as well.
But speaking of that also, is that we did also tour Z, which was really nice to see how Principal Bell is, and all of the district is working, how they're gonna rework it and make it work for them. And it really seems like it's gonna work really nicely with the areas, for where the pre-K is gonna be coming back to Northborough and gonna be at Z. So at least until any renovation happens, it looks like they're gonna have a really nice home
Yeah,
at the Z school.
agreed. Yeah, I would just add that it feels very clear to me that Bud and the team, both at the central office and at the individual school level, have done a great job at caring for their spaces. And so a big thanks to those folks. And we need a new school.
Yeah, I think,
Put that on record.
Yeah.
and I think, Bryce, you had mentioned while we were touring Peasley, will there be an opportunity for the community
Yeah,
to tour Peasley and see the current conditions?
Yep.
So absolutely, we will schedule that with our owner's project manager. Also, Keith will do some videos that we can add to NCAT, so families can actually see the current conditions that exist at Peasley. I think a picture is worth 1,000 words.
totally,
Yeah.
100%.
I know, they did that tour of White Cliffs, and the ability for people to actually go into it was
Right.
really helpful, it seemed like, for a lot of people.
And they did videos too. I think the videos are a great idea because then if you couldn't make that,
That small
Window,
window, it's
you
nice to
could
have
see
that
it,
option
yeah.
to see things, yeah.
And I think, one thing you said, Greg, when was Peaslee built?
1961.
62.
1962.
I took a picture of the plaque.
62, I think it
So in
said.
1962, Peaslee was a state-of-the-art building for learning at the time. But since then, learning has changed. And, you know, as I'm walking around Peaslee, sort of with my teacher hat on, thinking about everything that goes on in a school day now, with small group pullouts for math and reading, with IEP meetings, 504 meetings, counselors need space to meet with students. A lot of those spaces were not available and part of the learning environment in 1962 that we need now. And so I think that was very clear during our tour.
But they had their priorities. I mean, who doesn't need a shower room in an elementary school? I mean, like that.
A refurbished shower room.
Yeah.
That
Well,
would be-
now it is,
that would be
but back
something
then
else.
it was like, it was amazing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, we'll have more conversations around Peaslee, but in 1962, all of the energy codes, the fire codes, all the codes were different. All the building materials were different. So some of the building materials that we could use in 1962
You
are
cannot.
materials we no longer can use. So it's also about making sure that we have a code-compliant education facility that supports the learning for kids, students, and teachers.
And the other thing too is, as I said, we saw both schools, Beasley and Z, and even Z was last renovated in 1998, and even the choices they made then in 1998 are choices that are crazy. Like, they had this one beautiful room with these computer desks, but they were concrete into the ground, like, so that it's unmovable, versus now we know versatility of a room, kids being able to move the desks out, to be able to go on the ground, to move things, is what we need in a school building, not furniture that's built into the ground, that's stationary.
Right.
Okay. All right, moving on to artificial intelligence study group update.
So the communication did go out last week, and applications are due by the end of, it's the 13th, February 13th, so I think you've already seen a few applications come through. So if you know of anyone who's interested in serving on that study group, you can either have them contact the central office or go onto our district website, and there is a link to the application.
And that's for parents and students, or just for?
So we will have high school students
Okay,
representing.
so for high school kids, if interested, do
Yep.
the same thing?
Correct.
Okay. And parents, please, if you're interested, do the same thing.
And there will be school committee representation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I am interested in serving, depending on the schedule. If it's during the school day, no, but.
I was gonna say, I would be too, I'm just afraid of schedule. It's a fascinating subject.
Most, I would anticipate most of those meetings will be virtual and in the evening.
Will they be run by AI?
well, we have to use the
Greg
Copilot
bot.
or Zoom AI.
I was gonna say AI will be
Greg
Zoom
recording.
AI
Greg
taking
Bob.
notes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so February 13th, so the next time we get together, we'll have another update?
Correct.
Okay, wonderful. And it sounds like Lauren is putting her hat in the ring
Yeah.
for as a committee representative, which is, thank you, Lauren.
Looks-
And Kristen.
Kristen also. Well,
I don't want.
I think that maybe once we find out the schedule, we can see
Then
whose
maybe
schedule works best.
We can
for
discuss
us.
2 representatives. I
Yeah.
think that's totally
Yeah.
fine. Okay. Extended day program fee discussion and approval.
Sure, so one of the school committee's responsibilities when the district operates a extended day program is to set the fees annually. So Keith did provide a memo, which I included in your packet. So Keith, do you want to give a?
Yeah, so I do want to thank Becky and certainly our director of NADP, Kim Allure, and her team. We're off to a great start with NADP. This is the first 6 months of us, the district, operating the program, and we're off to a very successful start. We were able to, with Becky's help and her team, take a look at the financials and how things are looking and forecasting, and things are looking good. So the recommendation as is a part of the packet is to retain the fees for the 25-26 school year for the 26-27 school year. So no rate increase will be necessary at this time.
I'll take a motion as such.
So I'll move to maintain the existing 2025-2026 rates for the 2026-2027 school year for Northborough Extended Day.
Second.
Moved by Lauren, second by Kristen. It's a roll call vote. Joan,
Yes?
Kelly,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Lauren,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to grants and donations. We have a donation of products from Free Period Ministry of Hingham to the Public Schools of Northborough with a total value of $1,500. These are feminine hygiene products that I'm
Correct.
guessing? Okay. I'll take a motion to accept the donation of products from Free Period Ministry of Hingham to the Public Schools of Northborough with a total value of $1,500.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Lauren, second by Kristen. Roll call vote. Joan?
Yes?
Kelly?
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. It's unanimous. Okay, moving into old business, we have an MSBA update, Peasley Committee, Building Committee update, and Z School Roof Project update. We just kind of got a bit of that, but more to hash out there.
Yeah, so as Lauren indicated, on January 27th, the Peasley Building Committee did convene. We had a brief update from the owner's project manager, just talking about timelines, and then the architect, Flansburgh, went into some more detail around site specifics and some of the work that it has been doing, better understanding the site conditions and opportunities that exist on the site. We also went over kind of a Gantt chart of the project and what to expect in terms of milestones and key dates. And just, again, thank Erica Hall, the chairperson of the Peasley Building Committee, for keeping the committee organized and on track and on target.
That's great. School roof project update?
Keith?
Sure. So included in your packet is a memo that I prepared. We were able to connect with the Financial Planning Committee of Northborough, just so they have a complete understanding of the roof project, and we were able to answer those questions. So the memo does include a response to them, specifically about how the project does trigger the ADA requirements for upgrades to the building. So it does lay it out. And essentially, the summary of it is that there are two distinct threshold types that the Architectural Board requires, and this project certainly trips one, which is that the roof project repair will exceed $500,000. It's exempt for anything under $500K, so it's definitely going to be over. So that's the first threshold. The second threshold, which is more commonly known, is the 30% of the total value of the building. Not the land in the building, but the building itself. And it is predicted, just through the work that's been done, that that threshold will also be exceeded with current cost estimates. So we need to be prepared to do a complete ADA upgrade and bring it up to code. And that is something that has been evaluated. We do have some questions we have to iron out on specifically what needs to be done, but we do have a pretty strong cost estimate in our plan, which will be reimbursable from the MSBA once we get to that point. So I think we were able to satisfy those answers. I think there was also questions about solar readiness, and we were able to provide a dollar amount of what those improvements would be to help round it out. So the hope is that they're well informed as we go into this greater discussion.
Okay. Community Preservation Act application, Melican Ballfields.
There's another one for me. I do want to really thank Erin Tagliaferri, a former school committee member. She was an unbelievable partner during this process. She attended all the meetings. We were able to answer all the committee's questions and really make progress on a need of the Milliken ball fields for both baseball and softball. So last Thursday evening, the CPC as a board approved our application for the improvements for both fields, which will be part of the town meeting warrant in late April, for a total of $227,000 of improvements that will be made. So the hope is that we can get moving on that project, if all goes well, probably in the summer of '26.
Nice.
I love that.
So a real thank you to Erin. She did some incredible work and great advocacy, and very appreciative of her time on the application.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Aaron.
There's Joan.
Hi, Joan.
Hi. The question I have, through the chair, is the question that I have, when you said the CPA approved it for $227,000, is that the total, or are we still going to be paying some of that out of our operational or capital?
Good question, Joan. So the entire cost of the renovation is included in that $227,000 allocation.
And then my second question is, what would be the incurring cost that we would have for the following years, for the maintenance of that?
Also a great question. One of the benefits of working with Erin and her connections to youth baseball and softball is they had agreed to support the majority of that maintenance and ongoing maintenance. A lot of it's annual, some of it's seasonal. There's a number of different things that we're ironing out, but we do have their commitment to really look at that and take off a majority of those costs, but we haven't worked out the details. So if I were to predict with a crystal ball, they're going to be taking care of the majority, but the district will still have responsibilities of maintaining that field for readiness for the Milliken baseball and softball programs.
Well, that's wonderful that they will continue in the future to help to support those fields. And would you please give her our thanks and her husband for their initiatives in doing that, and also the youth baseball for helping us into this, and the CPA also. Thank you.
Gladly.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to discussion of 2026-2027 school calendar options and vote. I'll just add that, if you mind if I just say a couple things. We have an option 5 that has been added to the deck of calendars for consideration. However, we still have 2 of our 3 districts who have approved and are moving forward with option 3. So while I want to entertain discussion on option 5, I do want to also have an entertainment for a vote on calendar 3. So if folks want to discuss option 5, we can not vote tonight and push option 5 back to the region to see if they budge at all. Or we could take a motion, have discussion, and then vote on calendar 3.
So my motion would be to push our vote off and see if the other districts would entertain.
I think we have some feedback on that.
Like, would the other, if Southborough and the region would be willing to rescind their calendar 3 votes?
Last we met, it didn't seem like they were interested in doing that. Has that changed?
So I've had conversations with the Northborough Teachers Association, Southborough Teachers Association, and the region. So around option 5, which is the new option, I've had conversations with the chair of the Southborough School Committee and the Regional School Committee, and I think they're still thinking about whether they'll add it to their agenda for their upcoming meetings. So
So,
So,
Joan?
Greg, tell me what the time limit is when we have to take a vote.
March.
Because I was wondering, since we have the 3 committees, and just to hear everybody, could we delay this vote and discussion until the March combined meeting? Or is that too late to get it out,
No,
to take a vote?
so there's policy language around when the calendar needs to be approved by the school committee. So I believe it's end of April, early May. So there is still time.
Well, there's only one combined school committee meeting in that time.
Correct. So I'll just also note that option 5 for families in the community does not differ all that much from the calendars that the region and Southborough approved.
yes.
That the only shift is that educators would start on the 27th of August, which is a Thursday, the 28th of August, which is a Friday. Those would be PD days. Monday, August 31st would be a PD day or teacher use day. And students would start a day earlier than the calendar that was approved by the region in Southborough. So they would start on September 1st, which is a Tuesday. What that would allow us to do is not have professional development on Yom Kippur for educators. We'd also not have professional development on Eid. And we'd shift the other professional development day to April. These changes would not impact the last day of school. So the last day of school in the calendar that was voted for Southborough and the region is June 17th. In option 5, it would also be June 17th. So I think the last meeting, the school committee tasked me to look at options to try to avoid having professional development days on religious observance days and try to maintain the calendar that we have this year into next year so the school committee could evaluate its effectiveness.
So go ahead, Lauren.
I think that, like, thinking about this logistically of having, 3 separate school districts and the logistics of having busing and services and professional days, while I'd like to vote tonight, I know that we had sort of said, let's see if there's appetite in the other 2 committees to vote a different way. And right now, we don't know that, right? Because they haven't had their monthly meeting yet. So either we vote on calendar 3 tonight, and then maybe there's discussion, and then we have to go back, or we wait and we see, do they have the appetite for option 5, or do they feel pretty good with option 3? I think for financial reasons, we learned from last year, our district will have to vote the same way if we are smart financially, due to busing, the same way as the other 2 districts.
I mean,
So that's why I'm just saying,
the
maybe
third
let's,
option we could do is we could vote for a different one than them, and then it has to be
Forces
brought, it
discussion.
forces the discussion back.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
if
what
we
My
wanna
preference,
force
my
it to-
preference as the chair would not to do that. I think my preference is either tonight we say like, we have some time, we don't need to make a decision tonight, let's not, right? So let's not take a vote. Let's have these options go to the standalone committee meetings, and we will join up in March at the combined, which by hopefully then we'll have a better understanding, maybe more feedback from each of what their tolerance is gonna be on going back and forth. So if we don't have to make a decision tonight, I don't think we should. But I just wanted to be clear that like a vote against is still in contradiction to what the other 2 districts have as of now voted. So we could say, look, tonight, do you want to, I mean, we've now gone through calendar 5. If there's any further discussion on calendar 5, we can keep that up, or we can just move this to the next agenda item.
I think it might be helpful just to have conversation about calendar 5,
I'm.
For public record, so that if Southborough and the region this month have, do put this on their agenda, they know what we have said, and they know our thoughts, because I think that's part of this discussion is, what is everyone else thinking, and will they approve a calendar, and it's
Sure, I
tricky.
mean,
It's very
sure, I
tricky.
think, I mean,
Yeah.
I certainly think we can entertain whatever discussion people want to have on calendar 5. I don't have anything,
I mean,
so.
I think what Superintendent Martineau said, I think he summarized it perfectly. The whole point of the calendar committee a couple years ago was to come up with something that we can try out, go with for several years, until we see how it plays out. We didn't do that. We've only given it 1 year. So by changing it, even though it's still the day off, whether it's PD, whatever, it's really not giving it what the intention was. It's not having school for adults or children on religious holidays, observance. So this option number 5 is basically, it's doing the thing that 3 is. It's giving you the same end date that's a concern with people. So it's giving you the same end date, but it's maneuvering the inner workings to allow us to say that these are religious observance days and they should be off for everybody and not for just the children and families and not the staff, so.
There is one religious observance.
There's one, and the reason why I was the one who suggested that, and the reason why it was because after the meeting last year, the feedback from the community that we received was, you missed our holiday, like ours wasn't included, and that was the community members who reached out to us was from the Greek Orthodox, and they requested that, so this was a way to kind of get it into, it's big baby steps. I think we talked, I feel like we had a PD day on certain religious observers prior years and things like that. Unofficially, we had them, so it's kind of like a way to
Right, okay.
get
I have a question. Part of the feedback we got on option 3, right, was from the Algonquin Regional Teachers Association, was they were not a fan, right? Have they given any feedback? on
Yes,
that?
I shared with the Algonquin Regional Teachers Association the charge that you had given me after the last Northborough School Committee meeting. They brought count option 5 to their membership, and their membership supported option 5. Knowing well that the Regional School Committee in Southborough might not change their mind. They might stick with option 3.
Okay,
But it is an option now.
okay, and they were supportive 5, whereas they were not supportive.
Correct. And I think the issue, the real issue is there's language in the Algonquin Regional Teachers Association contract around when school can start.
Mhm.
With the ratified contract that we have with the Regional Teachers Association, that language is now removed.
nice.
So moving forward, in future years, we shouldn't have to have this conversation about the start.
About the start date, yeah.
The feedback we received from Northborough educators was, they looked at option 5. They liked having 3 professional learning days up front.
Mhm.
That is something that we've done since
What year?
2023.
You lost me there.
You're like, where's Siegel? Well, we toured Peasley, which brought us back to the 60s. So 2023, I believe, around there. So
Yeah.
they've appreciated having 3 professional learning days. So they saw that as an improvement for,
5/3.
Mhm.
In terms of next dates, so the Southborough School Committee meeting is next week, February 11th. Regional is February 25th. and then the next Northborough meeting is March
Weekend
2nd.
after that, yeah.
Right.
So there's a quick turnaround potentially. I just don't want to speak on behalf of other committees, but
Right.
I think if the committee did take a position, I could share that with the chairs, and see what their appetite is to add to their agendas. I don't want to speak for them, but my initial conversations that I've had is that I think they're open to entertaining it.
I mean, we certainly could stake a claim tonight by receiving a motion to move on calendar 5.
Yeah, I know, for myself, like, I'm very much in favor, I would much rather have calendar 5 that I feel like sticks more towards what we said we were gonna do and what we said were the community values that, you know, the calendar group and everything put forward before. And again, for families, as you pointed out, it's not a huge difference, it's the difference in professional development days. And we have 2 teachers associations who have said they like 5 over 30 because it is improvement. So those are all reasons for me that I would much prefer 5.
And all 3 associations had the same feedback.
Southborough.
Oh, so
thought it-
Southborough was the same, so
Okay.
all 3 teachers associations thought, you know, throw these again. That option 5 was better. Yeah, so I'd say that's even more reason to open that discussion again.
Again, we're never gonna please everybody of the
Right.
community,
Mhm.
but it's,
So, I mean, if we don't make a motion, we'll never know. So I'll just see if someone seconds it. I know that I'm going back on what I just said.
whatever.
But
I know, I was like, well, I would have made the motion, but I was told,
I was
well,
just gonna
I
do
wouldn't
it.
like to be forced
Lauren,
to hand.
I think I heard a ding.
Oh,
Yeah,
a ding.
I didn't want you to make a
Oh,
motion.
Joan,
Joan's
Joan,
gonna make the
please.
Sure.
So
That I don't know.
guys,
Go ahead, Joan.
I like, hey, thank you, I'm glad someone's
I-
standing up for
I'm
me.
trying.
I had a question, it's more procedural. Greg, at the December combined meeting, the Northborough School Committee took a vote, and we were 2-2, so it was a tie, with one member being absent. Because that was a tie, is that vote then null, and there isn't anything we have to do? Because I'm thinking now, and that's one question. Second question, because Southborough and the region voted for option number 3, to take another vote, does somebody in the affirmative have to bring up the motion to
Yes.
reconsider the vote? Or what happens procedurally?
That is correct, Joan.
So somebody in the affirmative from the region
Has
or
to
the
make a motion to
Southborough
reconsider.
have to bring it up to vote to reconsider,
Yep,
and they could bring up the option number 5, right?
yep.
Okay.
And-
Second question, well, probably third. Third question. Greg, you know, at the December combined meeting, in our packets, you had the yearly schedule. You know, each month was in a grid, like a little calendar grid, so we could see it on 8.5 by 11. Is there one for option 5?
No, but we could easily create one.
You do not?
No, I mean,
Okay.
we do have that, yes.
Yeah, you do.
Wait, is this what
Yes.
she's talking about?
Yes.
What did you mean?
It should be in the packet.
It's in the
Joan.
packet, Joan.
Voted thing?
It's in the packet?
Yeah.
Okay.
38.
Page 38, according to Rebecca Pellegrino.
Well,
I
thank
have
you,
page
Vicki.
numbers.
Okay, page 38.
It's just like in the packet.
In terms of
Yeah, 38.
the vote the Northborough School Committee took at the December combined meeting,
This is dead.
it was a tie vote, so it was a null vote. It didn't,
Okay.
Proce-
have to
proce-
do anything.
Procedurally, it will be a lot less complicated if we don't cast a vote, period, tonight. Procedurally, it could be a lot more complicated if we approve 5 and they all decide not to vote to reconsider. Then we've got a,
Well, no,
Procedural.
because then all
Not
we
at our
would have to
next
do is
meeting.
rescind
but
our
it's
vote
another
and then-
process. We have to then come back, we have to rescind that. I'm just saying, procedurally, it gets more complicated if we lock ourselves into a vote tonight.
Yes, but I think it also makes a statement to the other committees in the community that like, this is our preference.
Sure.
This is what we
Just
want.
saying.
can,
Yeah.
can I,
If one of them
Correct, it would
decides,
be
if one of
process.
2 other groups decides not to,
Yeah,
can I share my recommendation?
sure.
Again, this is the committee's decision, but my recommendation is, is, as Lauren indicated, to communicate your preference in open session. You can take a non-binding, like, you don't have to make a motion, you could do a straw poll of where people are.
Sure.
And then I can take that information back to the Southborough School Committee and the Regional School Committee. The meetings are in the next couple weeks, and then at the March meeting, which is, you know.
Our March meeting comes before the combined March meeting.
Yes.
You,
so-
you
Yes.
could then
Yeah.
take it up and say, and have new data.
Yeah.
And maybe it's, no, they're not gonna take it up. So,
I
you'll
mean,
just have more information.
It feels like the consensus of the committee would be calendar 5 is preferential,
Consensus,
right?
yes.
The consensus of the committee is,
Yes.
does feel that way to me. Somebody else tell me if I'm wrong. Joan, please tell me if you don't feel that way.
My consensus would be for number 5.
So,
And I would just like to make sure that the Teacher Association of Northborough this will be communicated to them so they can communicate it to the educators.
well, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And even though it's just a straw vote, where we seem to be leaning towards.
Totally, I get the sense
Yeah.
that the will of the committee without a motion and a vote is for calendar 5.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay,
All right.
noted.
So I almost changed my mind and made a motion, but then suddenly, so it's been a whirlwind.
Yeah.
Wow.
Calendars, you know?
And I'm a stubborn person, but you all changed my mind back and forth this whole time.
You're so open-minded, Lauren, to
Oh,
hear,
Growth
what other
mindset, growth
people-
mindset.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, any further discussion on calendars? Great, moving on to the superintendent's report to the committee.
So in your packet are the enrollment reports. So one of the things we've worked closely, focusing in on is the number of sections for the 2026-2027 academic year. So I think we are in a good position with the numbers. Also in your packet are the financial reports, which I will turn it over to Becky.
Okay, so first I will highlight the 2 new function codes that are showing as over budget. Those are our substitute long-term, and then also athletics. The substitute is due to projected long-term substitute costs for the rest of the year. And then athletics, there were some purchases that were made for the spring athletic program at Melican. And so that is why those 2 line items are over. And you can see that I have identified other areas within the budget where we can take those expenditures. In terms of the monthly general fund report, the report that's in your packet is as of January 31st, 2026. And we did see a decrease of about $210,000 from the prior month's report. So as of that date, the budget balance was $281,669, or 0.94% of the total operational budget. And in looking back at our previous last 2 years, we're actually right in line with where we have been historically. I will note that the change from last month to this month is primarily due to a couple of things. First of all, the substitute long-term that I've already talked about. And then also, if you remember, we did agree to utilize $30,000 from our operational budget towards the PZ feasibility study. And so we did allocate those funds for that study. And then the rest of the changes are really within various line items and not in one particular area. I'll make a motion. So I'll move to accept the FY26 monthly general fund report as of January 31st, 2026 until audited, and to approve the function codes presented this evening that have been overexpended in fiscal year 2026.
Second.
Moved by Lauren, second by Kristen, roll call vote. Joan?
Yes?
Kelly?
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, that's unanimous.
Also in your packet is a presentation that we shared last month around establishing a special education stabilization fund. So that information was presented, and I think the school committee wanted more time to think about whether or not it would like to support establishing such a fund. So we're happy to answer any questions or review the presentation again if
Were there any follow-up questions on the presentation or the motion?
Clarifying question.
Go ahead.
So, if approved this evening, then we would bring it to town meeting? Okay. I mean, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will accept a motion to approve the establishment of a special education stabilization
So
fund.
moved.
Second?
Moved by Kelly, second by Kristen. Roll call, Joan,
Yes,
Kelly,
Yes.
Kristen,
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
Bryce is a yes, it's unanimous, thank you.
Then we have the approved capital plan, approved budget priorities, the FY '27 budget calendar. Just a thank you to Cheryl for continuing to update the calendar and add events. And then also in your packet are the draft warrant articles, and thank you to Keith and Becky for organizing those. Those were provided to the town yesterday. The second? Just did that 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
1900s. So they have the information they need, and there might be some fine tuning, but overall, we have our warrant articles to the town within the timeline. And lastly is the FY '27 revised recommended budget presentation and vote. So since our last presentation of the recommended budget, the leadership team, which includes principals and directors, went back through the budget again with the direction that the school committee provided. And we have made some changes to the recommended budget, and Becky will share the presentation and answer any questions that you may have.
I think so, I'm sharing.
So one thing that I just wanted to note too is, since the last time we presented the operational budget, one of the key dates that we look to when we're building the budget is January 15th, because that's when we become aware of staff's decisions for next year in terms of retirement and leaves of absence. And so we do have new information since that time, and so that also played into this budget and the reconfiguration. So where are we right now? The revised recommended budget that we're presenting to you tonight is actually lower than what we had presented last month. It is a 6.96% increase, and that does represent a $2,086,899 increase over fiscal year '26. And you will note that it is now a reduction of 7.4 FTEs versus the 8.4 that we did have in last month's budget, or in the recommended budget. The budget drivers remain the same though, and those are the special education, transportation, out-of-district tuition, and collaborative tuitions, as well as the salaries. So this has been a process this year. We have many iterations of this budget. We started back in October with a 13.73% increase. And we have, this is, I think, our fourth budget presentation to the committee. And you can see that we are now at the 6.96% increase. So that does represent a $32,076,841 budget. So overall, the reductions that we have taken over the course of this budget process total $2,029,516. Initially, we did take the circuit breaker, our FY '26 circuit breaker, and that is for both tuitions and for our special education transportation, and that was $747,190. And then the other reductions come from a variety of sources. The 7.4 FTEs, which I will say many of these positions are due to retirements and attrition. And then we also have some line item reductions in terms of our supplies and materials. And I did want to point out that we are also planning to utilize $100,000 of FY '27 circuit breaker funds. So again, just to highlight those three areas that are really driving the budget, at this point in time, those three line items represent about 58% of the total increase that is happening in the fiscal year 27 budget. I think I've said this a few times, so I'm not going to say it. We can go to the next. It's still 6.96.
It's in the record.
And this is just, just to show the committee the historical receipts that we have received for circuit breaker. I think we've talked about circuit breaker and the way that we typically utilize our funds. One of the biggest drivers really with the tuition this year is the fact that our receipts were down by $880,000 for fiscal year 26. And that is based on the cohort of students that we had last year. And so we are trying to do an analysis for future years, but again, it is such a changing population that we do feel that using $100,000 in FY27 is something that we would be able to do. And also wanted to point out how we have come in on our budgets. Over the past 9 years, we have averaged 3.14, thank you. That's really small on my screen. So this really is not the norm for our budgets. This really has been a more difficult budget process, but I think that it is one that we have taken seriously, and a lot of work has gone into over the past 5 months that we've been working on it. So that is the FY27 revised recommended budget in a nutshell.
I think it's also worth noting, because you guys do such an amazing job, like when I'm looking at this increase, right, it also, a lot of those years, inflation itself was way above those numbers. It wasn't even like you were keeping up with inflation. You were keeping things, in control and doing the hard work of making sure it worked without trying to pass on that cost.
And all of those goods and services that had those inflationary increases we're still grappling with, because they're still in our budget and we're still seeing increases, so.
Yeah. So
Go ahead, Kelly.
I guess I'm confused a little bit, just because, I think in January it was 7.75, and now it's 6.96. But our big concern was the FTEs, and it's only, by reducing it, it's saving 1 FTE, but we're still losing 7. And I think that's what I'm having a hard time with. I understand retirements, things like that, but like Lawrence attested to it, we all know, once you get rid of it, it's harder to get it back. I mean, I'd rather approve the 7.75 number and potentially save that, do you know what I mean? I'm just confused. I was thinking that.
So
But the 7.75 had a larger reduction of FTEs.
Yes, but keeping the percentage, then I think that the reduction of the FTEs just is another retirement or whatever. It's the circumstances changing that's causing a change, but it's still, we're still losing. I understand that.
It's attrition, it's not
I'm saying the percentage,
you're right.
not the FTE. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather go back to the 7.75
And try and work down the
and work
loss of
the
FTEs.
FTEs down further
Yeah.
than reduce the percentage to 6.99. And say, is my brain not, I mean.
No,
I know I'm
it's
cloudy and I'm
no,
fuzzy, but I'm just thinking
it's, if you could get yourself, what you're saying essentially is a 6.95 versus 7.75.
Yeah.
If you could give yourself back the 0.8, you
Yeah.
would, and you would take that 7.4 down further. I understand what you're trying
Yeah.
to say. You say, no, I don't want 6.9, I want 7.75, now make the FTEs better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no,
yeah.
that totally makes sense.
And I mean, because that's what I was thinking that we were doing. I wasn't thinking
can-
we were gonna be reducing the
So I-
7.75.
so I'll just-
Yeah.
So there's a lot of other reductions and work, detailed work that went into going from 7.75
To 6.9.
to 6.96.
Yeah.
So it's not just a position.
I don't think she's even looking at the FTE as the
Yeah.
driver of the reduction.
Yep.
Because it doesn't math that way, right? Like it is, what she's saying is keep the amount of money, continue to reduce the amount of lost FTEs.
So, and the other way we looked at this was level services. So the charge that you, I understood leaving last meeting in December or January.
I don't know, whatever month.
It's cold outside.
Fine. It's late, it's been 2 late nights. Was to not reduce any programs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So that's what we did.
yeah.
We went back and made sure that we weren't impacting any programs. So this truly is like a level services budget.
Yeah.
That the experiences students will have next year are the same level of experiences they'll have this year.
Okay. Well, what would they have?
The other-
with the 7.7?
Well, I just want to be also clear that
I know.
we're, and I know you know this, but we are a department
Yeah.
in a town, and the charge to all departments was a 3% budget increase. We are, 3.96%
Above that.
over that, and I don't know where the other town department budgets are coming in, but there is a chance that the community will need an override. Anything we can defray from not having an override
Is good.
is in the town's best interest, in our best interest.
That's a good point.
But I hear you, Kelly.
Yeah. No, I know, and I appreciate it, and I know you've heard, and I know you reworked your things, so yeah. I just,
It feels hard because the 7.4 is not a tangible, we don't know what that, we just know it's,
yeah, and it's just.
there's either people not coming in or people leaving, right? It's one or the other, but we don't know the positions, we don't know the FX, we don't know, like, so the 7.4 for us, it's just hard
Yeah.
to look at and say, but it's still,
So, and I can share that we are within class size policy in all of our elementary sections and middle school sections. It's not a reduction necessarily of programs to students. So, I think it is a level services budget.
okay. Do we need a vote on this?
We do.
As part of our, did I say that?
Can I ask a question?
Joan?
Joan?
Thank you, Bryce. Greg, I have a couple of questions, and I want to do them, I think, all at one time, because then maybe you can, I'm sure you eloquently will be able to answer all my questions in just a couple of statements. So the first thing is, you have had meetings with the financial boards in Northborough, and probably Stephanie.
Correct.
What is the sense that you have received from them about presenting a budget like this? If we take a vote for this tonight, and we put it on, and say this is where we're gonna draw our sand, the line in the sand, we're gonna stay at 6.96. Is there a chance that at the town meeting, this could not be passed?
Of course.
And therefore, it would probably go for what's the procedure to get this as an override. And then the third one is, if it, worst case scenario, okay, we do a vote, and it goes to a ballot vote for an override for the schools, does that mean then, what would next year's budget then come to? And it would no longer be level services, it would be level funded. What would we be facing if it was level funded? I don't know if you can,
That's a big question.
Yeah, so, you know, we are in conversations with the town administrator, the director of finance at the town, with the boards and committees. So I think that the initial presentations, and we still are having additional presentations in the next month, they understand that the budget drivers are really outside of our control. It's not as if we're adding positions. It's that there are primarily three budget drivers, which is, you know, non-public school, public schools, collaboratives, and special education, transportation, all outside of our control that are drivers. If those were a normal increase compared to FY '26, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I think they understand that. And if you look at our line item budget, and each line item, look at the percent increase of those line items, it's a column of zeros. Like, there are not increases. And I think the people that we have shared this with understand that. We also communicated that if we were to get to a 3% budget, we have to cut another 17 people.
Yeah, another 13 people we would have to find.
20, it was
Yeah.
21 or something like that, yeah.
So 13 more
Yeah.
positions. In terms of what would happen if this was failed at town meeting, I think our work right now is to make sure that we have support of the boards and committees of this current budget, and that we communicate why this budget is important, and make sure that we tell a good story to the town, why you know, it's important to support education, and then go from there. I don't want to, we're not there yet. We'll collect more information in the next 3 or 4 weeks to see where we're at.
A follow-up, Greg,
Sure.
through the chair, Bryce?
Go ahead, John, yeah?
Okay, so Greg, let me ask this question. If we had to stay at a 3%, and you said there would be an additional 13 more positions to be cut, that then would affect class size. Is that
Correct. It would
correct
impact
perception?
class size, programs. It would have a much larger impact.
Okay, thank you. Because I can see how some of those positions that you're cutting to 7.4, maybe a small percentage of that 7.4 could be students that are leaving the K-8 going to regional. So if it is a staff member that we have for that student, it now be assimilated up to the region. So it's not affecting class sizes to 7.4, but to get to that additional 13 more positions, to get to a 3% would affect class sizes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Kristen?
Clarification, so this budget that we're voting on, and I know at the select board meeting, there was discussion about them taking some of those drivers. This does not include that, right? So this assumes they do nothing.
Correct. So I think the communication centered around, once the town has the kind of global view of their budget to see how much they are short from their goal, and then the town boards and committees would have to make some decisions around, do they go for an override? Do they use other mechanisms to meet any budget gap that might exist?
I'll take a motion to accept the revised recommended budget presentation.
Sure, I'll make a motion. I'll move to accept, or I should say approve, the FY '27 revised recommended budget for Northborough pre-K to 8 at $32,076,841, representing a 2.09 million, or 6.96% increase over FY '26.
Motion by Lauren, second by Kristen. Roll call vote. Joan?
Yes,
Kelly?
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. It's unanimous. Go ahead, Joan.
I'd just like to thank Greg, his administration, the teachers, the principals that have started working on this budget in earnest back in October. They were just probably only a month into school and have been working at this budget. I would just like to thank them for getting from a 13.73 from what they felt that they needed for going into the next year and getting it down to a 6.96. I think I would just like to thank Greg, and please give my thanks to the staff getting it down to this. Becky, all the hard work that you've been putting into this, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Well said. Lauren?
I was just gonna comment, Greg had sent out that article that I think should be required reading. I forget exactly what it was called. But it was about basically municipal budgets and just sort of the pressures that municipal budgets are having right now. And it's a larger conversation beyond school committee, but I haven't read the whole thing, but what I did read was very informative, so highly recommend.
It's called A Perfect Storm. Cities and towns face historic fiscal pressures.
Is that to
Greg
us
emailed
or
that
the
to us.
whole, oh, maybe we should go on the weekly newsletter for townspeople to read,
I will reshare that with the committee and
because I couldn't remember where it got sent to us.
He sent it to, I think,
It just
the
to us,
committee
right?
members?
Yeah, no, they like the superintendent's notes, what's it called. I get like 5 school emails on that
Yeah.
parent square every week, but yes, I think that would be a good thing to include and let people know.
Yeah.
Okay. Good job. All right. Moving on to school committee member reports. Anyone have anything to report for the school committees?
I do. Ooh.
Joan? Go ahead, Joan.
Oh, okay, thank you. What I just have to report back to is the liaison to the NSPAC that on January the 28th of last month at 9:30 to 11 o'clock, they had at the Northborough Public Library Community Room, they had a Family Success Partnership, which was a district-wide parent workshop that was focused on empowering families and strengthening students' connection to school. And it included practical strategies, communication tools, and community resources to help students develop consistent and confident school attendance. And it was open to all parents and caregivers. And because it was not recorded, I was not able to see it. And I was just wondering, and I'll bring it up when we do future agenda items, I'd like to have maybe Helene to give a report back to this and how this this session was with the parents for the Family Success Partnership, and how what was the report back from parents on that school attendance workshop. And that's all I have.
Okay.
Joan, speaking of the NEF thing, NEF had that raffle for snow day announcement, and that little student
Oh, he won hearts and
was
minds.
so cute.
Won hearts and minds that day, that's for sure.
Oh my goodness, I
That
don't
was
know
really
why we
funny.
haven't done this before. It was so, I mean, can we have an announcement for every snow? It was just so cute,
Awesome. Yeah.
so cute. So job well done for them putting together that little fundraiser, and for you, Superintendent Martineau, for allowing that to happen. So cute.
Yeah, that was awesome.
happy to delegate that task.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. You did terrific.
Thankfully, we had a snow day.
I know, I was hoping for a snow day because it was,
Yeah, very disappointing for that little guy.
It was so cute.
All right. Anything else before moving on?
You can go first.
The Wellness Committee met, and so they, last time I mentioned, they had dropped into subcommittees and were tackling different topics. So one of the subcommittees is working on a health survey, had developed an action plan that incorporates like 2 different roadmaps of what they want to do for Wellness Week, they were brainstorming ideas and try to get involved with get clubs involved with Wellness Week. And so they created a list of ideas and things that might fit under Eat a Rainbow, it's been a long day, and other healthy food campaigns. And another subgroup is digital wellness. And so they're gonna connect with more stakeholders, even in the middle school and groups in the community, to try and talk about digital wellness and see what the needs are. And they also talked about resource compilation. So if anyone's interested in any of those ideas, we're creating a school community state resource site for digital wellness and wellness, and looking for members. You can reach out. If you want to do policy subcommittee. No, you go. It's totally fine. Oh, on the snow day note, though, I happened to be with other people watching the football game, and I just wanted to note that those calls came through at very different times. I got it 45 minutes before my neighbor got it, who was sitting next to me, half hour before my husband got it over on the couch, which was great because we got to listen to them like 3 or 4 times play and talk about how cute he was. But I wasn't sure.
There was an issue with Parent Square. They sent out a notification to all Parent Square users across the state that there was a delay. So they have since resolved that issue.
Okay, I was like, oh, that's weird. Why am I got that a while ago. And that's all I have.
We met as a policy subcommittee 2 weeks ago. We did second reviews of all the policies we discussed at our December combined meeting, so we'll be bringing those back for another read in March. And then we started conversation very briefly about, the AI subcommittee or working group, and a potential cell phone policy. So we just really briefly talked about it, and more to come on that later this year.
All right, educational policy, none at this time. Policy development distribution, none. We have personnel items, distribution of personnel report.
So in your packet, nothing, we had a few appointments, a transfer, and then 2 resignations, one person who was on a year leave of absence. And then we had a special education teacher who had an LOA, leave of absence.
Okay, thank you. Distribution of the FY27 budget book.
It's I did include it in your packet, so that does include the 7.75 increase. Given tonight's vote of the committee, Becky, Cheryl, and I will update the budget books to reflect the 6.96% increase.
Okay. We've got a vote on action. We've got to take some action on open meeting minutes of January 7th, 2026. What's the motion? Do you have it, Lauren?
There we go, yes. I'll move to approve the open meeting minutes of January 7th, 2026.
Second.
Motion by Lauren, second by Kristen. Roll call vote. Joan?
Yes.
Kelly?
Yes.
Kristen? Lauren?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. It's unanimous. All right, future agenda items. Calendar needs to get added. That would be discussion and vote depending on how our neighbor committees go over the next month.
Yep.
Kelly, anything regarding the budget that you'd like to see as we move towards something that we need to present to the town? Totally, put it on the list. We want more money, future agenda items. I love that. No, we've got outdoor learning spaces, which we keep kind of talking about down the road. We will get there.
Like spring.
Yeah,
This
well,
spring,
we will
next
get
spring.
there. Z and Lincoln Street Schools for March, math presentation. Any other new items from folks here? Joan? Sorry, Kelly.
It's fine, it's fine.
You get the bloop.
I just show up.
Joan?
Just to add 2 things, Proctor School as a school of recognition.
Yeah.
Are we going to be doing that?
Yeah, we skipped that tonight. We'll put that on for next.
Okay, and the last thing, Helene wouldn't have to come to that, but even if it was just a small write-up in Greg's memo, just what was, how did that meeting go that I just highlighted from the special ed department from Helene, that workshop on family success partnership?
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you.
Kelly?
I know the sixth grade field trip for Melican's gonna be on at some point. So,
Oh, that's an overnight, don't we?
It's
have
an
to approve it by a
overnight.
certain,
We have to do that annually. We do it annually for the next year.
no, it's, wait,
I think
it's
it's
in
a-
spring, right?
It's this spring, I
Is
think
it
it's
the-
like a month.
Oh, we
They
already
moved
voted it.
It's
I
not
think
in
we
fall.
I thought we
voted
did,
for
I
it.
thought we did too.
Yeah.
I thought we did it ahead
Yeah.
ahead last time. We voted it, and then
Yeah, we did.
I
I'll
thought,
review the
For us.
minutes. I'll go review the minutes, I
Yeah.
believe.
yeah, I thought we had said, like, let's stop doing this and just get it
Yeah.
approved.
So then this year we'll be voting again.
For next year.
Yes.
Yeah, we caught up in cycle.
Right.
Yeah.
I will
So
we'll
is it,
review the minutes.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
so I think you're right, it's like things, but, okay, so then I guess,
So it'll be on
Yeah.
there somewhere for 2027.
Right.
I guess they would probably be after they go to decide on what happens.
Oh,
Yeah.
if they want to continue it, yeah.
Because they're unsure.
Well, last year, the numbers were really, really low.
Participation was low.
Yeah, so I think the idea that they're doing it once more this year to
See
kind
if
of
it picks up.
see if it was just a fluke last year,
Yeah.
or if the traveling is
Prohibitive to,
is kind of, yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's very expensive. It's nearly $300 for one night.
yeah.
Mm,
Okay,
yeah,
So, I mean, and that's with, like, the fundraising.
yeah.
and this is Nature's Classroom in.
It's
Mass,
not,
right?
it's called outdoor classroom. It's not Nature's Classroom. The outdoor classroom is the same experience that Trotter does. The Nature's Classroom is what the fifth graders do at Peace.
Mhm.
So they're two different,
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
And then I'd just like to add any updates about how the strings program will be progressing next year, into next school year.
Updates on,
Growing.
updates on string program?
Yeah.
I
Cool.
just hear such great things about this string. I
There's-
mean,
That's our update.
I
It's
got-
true, it's mostly what I'm hearing as well.
Oh,
Yeah, I had an
Lot of love.
update from one of the principals today, and just so much positive
Yeah,
feedback and excitement, and
yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, they have a concert the 12th, which was mentioned, very good. Then I got the curriculum night for the high school, it's also February 12th at 6 PM. It was like, so that I guess I'll be watching later, but I guess, yeah, I will be at the Strings concert on February 12th.
Okay,
They're very excited.
that is awesome. Okay, no approval of bills or payroll. Audience sharing,
I'd like
go ahead.
to share.
What-
Kelly
what-
Gannett, 69 North Gate Road. I had the opportunity to speak to this, I believe they go by the Scouts of America now. So it was a group, and we met, was it last Wednesday, I believe it was? Or it might have been Thursday. Anyways, I gave the presentation about being an elected official, and one of the things I talked about was free kindergarten, and this class that I happened to be presenting to was the first free kindergarten class after COVID. So they just expressed their gratitude towards the school committee and towards us, so I just wanted to share. So I don't know
That is
which
very
one,
cool.
But yeah, so it just, and it was, yeah,
That's cool. Full circle moment there.
full circle moment, yeah.
That's cool.
And I actually, some of them were my preschool students too, so
Did you wear your pin?
it's like, is your name this? I know it.
Okay, well, not seeing any other audience shares, I will take a motion to adjourn at 8:45 PM.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Kelly, second by Kristen. Roll call vote. Joan?
Yes?
Kelly?
Yes.
Kristen?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
Bryce? That's unanimous. Adjourned as of 8:45.
Awesome.
Good night, Joan.